Hello, everyone. Welcome to Crick Punts with Fussy. And as usual, joining me today is my brother. And we are back after the Australian tour. And I have to apologize because I didn't make a video for the most historic day in Indian cricket because of personal reasons. But hey, we are back. And the England are on a shore. And boy, this is a big series, both in terms of importance and the number of matches played. So let's just dive right into it. So, are you excited for the series?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm not excited as well. I'm like, England will lose. What's the point? But there is more to the series than England will lose. We'll talk about all that.
Yeah, well, we all thought India will lose after the first test, didn't we?
True. Uh, we have to look at the differences between Indian team and England
Mm-hmm.
team and how they will show up, and I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
we'll bring all those points. And also, tell me, can you please throw some light on what happens with the World Test Championship? Because I'm not sure if you know the news, the Australian tour to South Africa has
Yes,
been cancelled,
yes.
right? So,
So,
what does that mean? Where does that put this series in the context of World Test Championship?
so if that series is cancelled, then that means Australia are out of the final spot. So
Hmm.
New Zealand will go through, and so this is a deciding series because India are number one on the World Test Championship. So for India to qualify to the finals, all they have to
Hmm.
do is win the series by the minimum margin of 2-0 or anything above 2-0, 3-1, 4-0. So India will
Okay.
walk through the final. If at all India
Uh-huh.
lose, then it depends on the margin and how big the wins are. I mean, not in terms of the runs or anything, as in the margin in the series. So that will decide. But most probably, if the series is cancelled between Australia and South Africa, that means that it's India versus New Zealand in the final at the Lords.
There is nothing England can do to at least dream about something or the other?
They have to defeat India by 3-1 minimum, if I'm not wrong.
Minimum.
Yeah,
Heaven's sake.
yeah.
Hmm.
So they have a very outside chance, but you just can't rule it out, especially after the
Hmm.
Australian series. But yeah, it's looking more good for Indians after that win.
Right, yo. So, and the England India's tour to England is after the World Test Championship, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes, that's not part of the inaugural World Test Championship. So that most probably will be under the second season. Maybe we're not sure yet. There's nothing
Right,
official, but yeah,
right.
that tour doesn't count. So let's just look at the series. It's a very big
Hmm.
series, right? So we have four Test matches. So the first two
Right.
in Chennai, the second two in
Hmm.
Ahmedabad in the new stadium, the world's biggest cricket stadium.
Now, tell me something. What are the pitches like? What is the news?
Right. We know how Chennai is. So it's a spinning track. It
Mm-hmm.
always spins, especially
Hmm.
as the test match progresses. It starts spinning a lot. And we're not really sure about the last two test matches because it's a new stadium. We have no clue how that's going to play.
Hmm.
But I'm pretty sure it'll be a typical
Mm-hmm.
subcontinental pitch with something for the paces on just on the day one, maybe half of the day one.
Hmm.
Uh, After that, it'll start
Mm-hmm.
spinning and there'll be reverse for the bowlers.
Aren't you looking forward to that day and night test in Ahmedabad? Because for me, that is the billing test match of this entire series. Because pink ball under lights, the ball will talk, and you know who starts talking when the ball is talking? It's Jimmy and Stuart Broad, Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad. So that will be a very interesting test match for me. And I said on my podcast with Rob Johnston, the cricket buzz writer, that it will be 2-1, and probably England will aim to win that test match in Ahmedabad with the one, and India winning the two. There'll be one draw if not more, right? So that is my prediction. We'll get to the predictions in the end. But what's happening with Indian squad? What do we have? What interesting things do we have here to talk about?
The biggest boost is the captain is back. Virat Kohli is back in the squad, and so are Jasprit
Mm,
Bumrah, Ishant Sharma, and Ashwin. That's a boost. But we miss out on few
mm,
key players like Ravindra Jadeja and Mohammad Shami because of the injuries and Hanuma
mm.
Vihari. But I think the rest of the squad is the same as the Australian series. Prithvi Shah misses out, and Hardik Pandya is
Yeah.
in the squad. Akshar
Mm.
Patel is in the squad, and KL Rahul is back after the injury. So yeah, it's a pretty sorted team, I suppose. And Shardul Thakur and Mohammad Siraj have earned their stripes in the white ball. I'm sorry,
And
red ball.
Sundar, don't you forget
Yeah,
Sundar.
yeah, yeah. Washington
Don't
Sundar.
you forget Sundar,
Yes,
right?
yes. So
Now Virat Kohli is back as a captain, and
mhm.
many were over the moon when India won the series in Australia, and many were like, Rahane, do we don't like? What's your comment on that? Because I have some comments on that.
Well, I personally think that's just impulsive comment, because I
Yes.
mean you've got to look at the record before this series, because he's
Mm,
probably one of the most successful Indian captains in terms of numbers. He
mm,
has such good numbers. He's won so many matches, and he has built this team, right?
mm,
I'm not taking anything away from Rahane, but he's built this fast bowling culture in this Indian team. This never die attitude. So yeah, I mean, yes, he was not there. Rahane stepped up. He did a wonderful job. I agree. But as Rahane said it himself, that he is Virat Kohli's deputy, and when Virat
mm,
is back, he's just happy to just stay back and do the
mm.
vice captain.
And one more, what I have to say about this is, first of all, we have already made the investment on Kohli as a captain. So
Yeah.
backing out will, and if you take Kohli out of captaincy,
Hmm.
I don't think he will be the same batsman he was before. I mean, that will be a little bit insulting to himself. So if you really want to play Kohli as a pure batsman by snatching his captaincy away, I really doubt. You have to really wonder, will he be the same batsman again? Because mentally,
Yeah.
that. And number two is that if Rahane is a good captain, but all the captaincies of Rahane has been for that one particular test match or one particular series, right?
Yeah.
He has never been tested over a long period, right? Because
Yeah.
captaincy of Indian team is not just for that one series and that one test match, right? You have
Yeah.
to really think long term, and you
Hmm.
have to face a whole hell of a lot of other pressures,
Yeah.
right? The media scrutiny, your the questions on your selections,
Yep.
your team building, the players that you're backing, the players that you're not backing. And
Exactly.
over a period of time, Rahane has never been tested. Although I'm pretty sure he has all the ingredients to be a good captain over a period of time. He has not been tested. So that is another point that you have to really take into consideration. Having said all that, Kohli and captaincy, that's an interesting topic for another time. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's my two cents.
I think for now, you don't need to change anything, because he's
Hmm.
done a good job so far, and I'm pretty sure
At
he'll
least
be.
in test team, yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about Test cricket. He's done a good job in the
Hmm.
Test cricket, so I don't think there's any need to change the captaincy because of one series. Uh,
Hmm.
it's a team. It's a team sport. I'm pretty sure it's not like once he's back, Rahane has no say in the decisions. I'm pretty sure he'll have a say in the decisions, and especially after this, after the last tour, I'm pretty sure there'll be more respect for Rahane and for his decision, right? So I don't think it's a valid debate.
Yeah, it's not a valid debate for me either. It's just
Yeah.
Kohli is the captain, and that's the way it is. If you
Yeah.
really wanted to have the debate, you should have had the debate when Dhoni retired.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
too
Yeah.
late.
So let's talk about England team for a second, right? So they
Hmm.
just toured. I think they have a good preparation in terms of the Sri Lankan series, even though not on the skill level, but at least in the subcontinent
Yeah,
conditions.
it's like they played with Andhra team. It's whatever. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm just
Yeah. Yeah.
kidding. In
So
Ranji.
yeah, I mean, no disrespect to I'm
No
sorry, Sri Lankan
disrespect.
team. Yeah. So
Okay.
so let's just look at their team. So I think the team revolves around Joe Root. One, yes, he's
Hmm.
the leader of the team, but two, he's an excellent player of spin, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at him, if you look at the team, anyone coming above Joe Root is
Hmm.
inexperienced. Daniel Lawrence, Zach Clory, Dominic Sibley, very inexperienced, and anyone below Joe Root are not really good players of spin. Yes, Ben Stokes is there. He's had a amazing couple of years, but his record in subcontinent has not been good so far. So that
Mm-hmm.
might change this time around. But
Hmm.
he's really the glue, right, to the team.
Yeah.
And last time around they had Alistair Cook, but no Alistair Cook this time. So how do you think they'll fare against the spin?
I was watching this interview of Jamie Alter with Monty Panessa,
Hmm.
where he basically said it's Joe Root's sweeps versus Indian spinners. This is all that series
Hmm.
is all about.
Yeah.
So it would be really interesting to see. I think Joe Root is pretty sorted. I'm very interested to see how Zach Crawley will play, because he has this Peterson spirit in him. And Peterson is one of the best overseas batsmen in to
Yeah.
have performed in India. I mean, if you look at his 2012 series record, he hit that
Yes.
wonderful 185. So I'm really looking forward to see that guy. Ben Stokes obviously has a point to prove. Ashwin versus Ben Stokes would be really good.
Yes.
And if Sundar is in the team, so those off spinners against Ben Stokes will be the web that India will be going for. So I'd be really interested to see how Ben Stokes will show up. And I'm very curious about the batting order of England, right? Because for a couple of matches, Barrister was not in.
Yes.
So what happens? So they open with Rory Burns and Sibley, Crawley at number 3, Root at number
Mhm.
4, Stokes at number 5. Number
Yeah.
6 will be Butler, right?
Yes. Yes.
So if Barrister comes back, probably there is no place for him in the 11, I guess.
Yeah, well, it depends on how they are after the 2 matches and who's
Hmm.
not performing, I guess. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think they're pretty sorted as a batting order. And after that,
Yes.
you have players like Moeen Ali, Chris Wokes
Hmm.
coming in the team. So I think they have a very balanced team on paper, but it's a whole
Hmm.
different ball game when you're playing spin. And considering the fact that a lot of them have not played spin, especially the
Hmm.
top order, like players like Zach Crawley or Sibley, Rory Burns, they've not played in India. They've not played against spinners of this quality like Ashwin,
Yeah.
Kuldeep Yadav. So I think it'll be a real big test for England team. But one thing about this England team is they're always very prepared. Even the
Hmm.
last time around, even though it was 4-0, if I'm not wrong, when they
Hmm.
played in India, but it was a competitive series, especially in the first couple of matches. They drew the first match in the series, so they're a good team. They're well prepared. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a typical Indian series where India just rolls over the opponent. But the first couple of
And
matches are very important for England, because if they lose those
hmm.
matches, I think their morale will break. And we're not, I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest, we're not going to see England doing in India what they did in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
True.
don't think that
It's not
happening.
happening.
So yeah, I don't see that happening. So if they lose the first couple of matches, or even a single match in the first 2 matches, I don't see any chance of England coming back into the series.
I'm very curious about their bowling combinations. So
Hmm.
will Broad and Anderson play all the matches, or how many spinners will they play? Who will be in? If you, I just spoke about 6 batting slots.
Yeah.
Now the 5 batting slots would be, I think they will have to go for Jack Leach, because Jack Leach is
Yes.
their left arm option, and
Yes.
way too many right-handers
Yeah.
in the Indian batting order. So I think after Butler, I think Moeen Ali will follow.
Yes.
I
Moeen
think,
Ali.
and after Moeen Ali, they'll play Leach,
Hmm.
and then they will play. Do they have a room for another batsman?
Let's see. So they have
Because
Jofra Archer. They're going to play Jofra Archer, and they're going to
yeah,
play Anderson. And will they
Anderson
play?
or Broad, not both. I think Anderson and Broad will play only in that pink ball together.
Hmm.
I think they're going to rotate these folks. So what will happen is they'll play one more extra batsman, followed by Moeen Ali, and then Leach, and then Archer,
How
and
about how about someone like Chris Wokes?
Anderson and Broad. Anderson and Broad. Stokes will be the third seamer, so that will be their bowling, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So I think they will have that 90-mile option. So either Archer or Wood will be playing. I think Archer and Wood will rotate.
I
And
don't think Wood is playing in the first 2 matches.
okay, sure.
Yeah, so the
So
bowlers are
the point.
Jofra Archer, Anderson,
Mm,
Dominic Best,
mm.
Stuart Broad, Jack Leach, and Ollie Stone.
Okay, yeah. So I don't think Dom Best will make it into the 11, because
Hmm.
Moeen Ali will give them the batting option.
Yes.
So uh, Stokes and Moeen Ali all rounders. All right. Um, uh, Butler is the keeper. Remaining
Hmm.
batsmen and the bowlers will be Archer, Anderson, and Leach. That will be their
Right.
bowling order, in my opinion.
Okay.
And mind you, I think this is the biggest test. This is the preparation for their Ashes begins from here, I believe,
Hmm.
for the England's test team. So I hope they stick with the players and make them go through multiple challenges, make them grind, so
Yeah.
that by the time they arrive in Australia, they're ready.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested, and for that, top order is very key. And I'd like to see if they have the ability to score long. Crawley showed that, and I hope he repeats. And it'll be a very interesting series if one of the top order, and they also have the freedom because of the cushion that Joe Root provides at number 4. I
Yeah.
think they should be able to capitalize on that.
Players I'm looking forward to in the England squad. One is Ben Stokes, obviously, for the
Hmm.
obvious reasons. His one of the biggest names going around in the world cricket right now. But his performance in the subcontinent has not been good, but he's been having a dreamy couple of years for now. So I think this will be a
Yeah,
very big test. And the other
good
player
test.
I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to is Jofra Archer, because uh, the
Mm,
ball stops swinging real quick in India, right?
yeah.
And so in the middle overs when it's not doing much with the ball, his pace
Mm,
and bounce, and when it starts to reverse, I think both
mm,
Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer will be very important. So I'm really looking forward to see how
right.
Jofra Archer goes on in the series. And another key
Right.
battle I'm looking forward to is James Anderson and Virat Kohli. You know, the old rivalry.
Mm,
After the 2014 series, has not dismissed Kohli even once,
yeah.
right? Both in Indian series and the England series.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And the players I'm looking forward to in the Indian squad uh,
Mm.
are, well, these are big names, but Virat Kohli obviously coming off after a long time, and he has not
We need
scored a
100.
century in
Yeah.
2020.
About time.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that'll be on his mind. And another player I'm looking forward to is Jasprit Bumrah. Interesting fact is he has not played a single test match in India.
Wow.
He's played
Huh.
17. He's played 17 test matches so far.
All overseas.
Yeah, all overseas. 7 test matches in
Wow.
Australia. That's the highest.
Mm.
But he has
Mm.
not played a single test match in India. So
Right.
let's just come to the combinations you were talking about. So the very
Mm.
reason why we're talking about these conversations in the first place is because of the COVID and the amount of
Mm.
time players spend in quarantine and the amount of cricket. I mean, if you just see, I'll just put it up on the screen now for the viewers.
Yeah.
So India is going to play non-stop cricket every month of this year, non-stop. There's not a single month where they're not playing cricket, right? So
That is that is sad.
yeah, which is sad, and the amount of time they have to spend in the quarantine. So the workload of the players has to be
Yeah.
really managed, especially the quicks, because with the
Mm.
World Cup coming around in the later part of this year. So I think it's really
Yeah.
interesting to see how they manage. So England have made it pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
So how they're going to manage, because they've rested some key players like Sam Curran, Bairstow, and I'm pretty sure they'll
Yes.
come back for the white ball tour, and I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to see how Indians do that, because the way I see it, I think India will just play their best
You
bowling
get.
lineup for the first 2 matches and hopefully win, and after that
Mm.
they'll start experimenting with the likes. I mean, it's not really an experiment, because players like Siraj and Thakur are in the
It's
wings.
just
So
forced.
yeah, so it's just a forced change,
Yeah.
and it's really important, because imagine someone like Jasprit Bumrah getting injured and not playing the T20 World Cup. That's a big blow for Indians.
Yeah. I think I don't think Bumrah is going to play all the 4 tests
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I don't think Ishan Sharma will play all the 4 tests.
Yes.
I think they should do something on the lines of what England do,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to preserve the bowlers, and also I wonder if they'll rotate all rounders in England with Moeen Ali and Ben Stokes, because I don't. One issue that I was doing the podcast with Rob Johnson, he pointed that they cannot play too many all rounders because all rounders cannot bowl too many overs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was very skeptical about Moeen
Mm-hmm.
Ali in the squad, right? He
Yeah.
said Dom Bess might make in as a pure bowler. So
Okay.
4 pure bowlers is who they're looking for. So stress management is going to be a massive factor in the series, and I'm very curious, especially Indian bowling,
Yeah.
and I'm that is why I'm very curious to see about the starting level of India, right? So they have Ashwin and Sundar and Kuldeep. Who are they going to start with? What are the starting bowling combinations on day one? What do you think?
Well, it's an interesting one, because I was just looking into the stats, and the last time India played in Chennai, they played two
Mm,
pacers and three spinners, and I personally think they'll go in with that again, with Bumrah and Ishant, and the three
mm.
spinners being, I personally feel
Kuldeep,
Kuldeep Ashwin, yes, and the third spinner, I feel,
mm,
even though Washington Sundar has done well, I think it'll be Akshar Patel, because he'll take
mhm.
the ball
Why?
away from the right-handers, and
Mhm.
Ashwin and Sundar are a bit similar, as in their stock ball is off spin, so they bring the ball into the right-hander. So I don't
Mm.
think they'll need two spinners with the same stock ball. So I feel they'll go, and Akshar can bat as well.
Right.
So, but if they feel that they'll just go with four bowlers, then they might add someone like KL Rahul, or maybe even Saha, who's done really well in the subcontinental conditions. So I think at this point of time, it's really hard to predict the 11. who are they going to
Mm.
go with, 5 ballers or 4 ballers? So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see, because the day before they'll release the pictures of the pitch, they'll give us a clear picture of what the team might look like.
Tell me something. As impenetrable as India looks, what
Mhm.
should England look for to make inroads to India? What is the chink in the armor that England should be looking for? For me, number one is fatigue, because
Mhm.
amount they have just come back from Australia, just 15 days at home and then back in quarantine. So that will take a toll. And if India were dumb enough to mismanage their players, I think fatigue will come in. And what else are you looking for?
The biggest factor for England will be how they play spin, especially in the second innings. By the time the second innings starts, they'll
Okay.
be spinning a lot. And the most important thing for England will be posting big scores. That is the way forward in
Hmm.
these subcontinent conditions, because these are good batting tracks. These are very
Yeah.
good batting tracks. So you
Yeah.
just dig in
A
and
70, yeah. A 70 in England is like 13
exactly.
subcontinents. You have to
Exactly.
score big.
Exactly. Ashwin will score 70 as well. So it's not about those 70s. Someone needs to stand up and score big, and they need to
Yeah.
post big first innings totals and put
Mm.
Indian batsmen under pressure, because that is what they did the last time in the first match. They scored big and they were able to draw the match. I think they'll look at that, and to be honest, we say spin is our strength, but if you look in the last few years, our batsmen are not the best players of
Struggling.
spin. Are not the
Yeah.
best players of spin, if you put it nicely.
But they don't have the best spinners either, right? It's just that Sri Lankan team make them look good. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Obviously, the challenge will be bigger, but you just can't rule them out, because let me point out to the viewers that, well, India have not lost 12 series. The last 12 series in India they played in home, but the
Mm.
series they lost before that was against England in
England.
2012.
Yes.
So you just
Mm.
can't rule out, especially after the Australian series, anything's possible. But yeah, India are heavy favorites going into the series. So England should be looking at batting big and hopefully troubling them with their spinners.
So, what is your prediction then? Honest prediction, honest result.
Well,
What do you think?
I feel it's going to be 3-1 or 3-0, with England
Hmm.
drawing a test match and India winning 3 test matches. Is what I feel.
I am going to go for 2-1 because I think there'll be a draw. I think England will punch above the weight,
Yeah,
and India will eventually win the series 2-1. But I think it's we have our expectations way too high on Test cricket after that wonderful series.
exactly.
We have to remind the viewers that it may not be like that, right?
Yeah,
Test cricket will be like Test cricket as it has always been. Doesn't mean it becomes a little less interesting. Not every series has to be India Australia series. Not everything has to be a dream Cinderella fairy tale. All right.
yeah.
But very excited that Test cricket comes back coming